Welcome to Piano Lesson 22, where we're going to learn a great old gospel tune that's a lot of fun to play, and in the process we're going to begin to incorporate musical character into our playing. Let's get ready to learn and play together. First, check in with your posture. Make sure your back is straight, your neck is long, your feet are flat on the floor, your forearms are level with the keys or angled down towards the keys, and of course at the end of those forearms you've got lovely relaxed wrists, dome-shaped hands and strong curved fingers. You're also feeling positive, relaxed and ready to focus on learning some new skills. Let's warm up. We're going to do the same scales and arpeggios today in C major and G major, but let's mix things up a little and play them in a different order. Who says we're not living dangerously? We'll start with our C major scale, parallel motion or similar motion, 1 octave up and down, hands together. I'll do 1 to set the tempo and then we'll do 3 together. Off I go. Let's do 3 together. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 3. Now let's do our G major scale 3 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we'll do our C major contrary motion. I'll do 1 and then we'll do 3 together. Here I go. Let's do 3 together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do 3 of our G major contrary motion. Off we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fabulous. Now we'll do our arpeggios. C major first. I'll do 1 and then 3 together. Here I go. Let's do 3 together. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Let's do 3 of our G major arpeggios. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3. And we're warmed up. Have a pause and have a play if any of your scales need a little bit more practice. Last time we looked at your interaction with the keys, engaging your hearing, moving smoothly between keys and creating those lovely flowing coordinated hand gestures, engaging your imagination to hear the music in your head before it comes pouring out of your fingers. And we looked at starting to shape our musical phrases by incorporating various dynamics. Today we're going to look at incorporating character into our music. Here's today's tune. It's entitled Jolly Ganders. Let's have a look at the piece as a whole and get some idea about the character we're going to try and create when we play this little tune. You can see that we're in 4/4 time, so we're counting 4 beats in a bar. We've got both hands reading in the treble again. We've got alternating playing, left hand first, then right hand, left hand, right hand. The first section is only played once. In the second half of the piece, we've got alternating playing again, left hand, right hand, left hand, right hand, left hand. And you can see that there's some repeat dots in the second half of our piece, indicating that once we've played that second part through once, we need to go back to the preceding double dots at the beginning of that second half and play the second half again. So in a nutshell, we're playing the first half once and we're playing the second half twice. That's the nuts and bolts of the piece, but what about the character? Let's have a look at the sheet music and see if we can pick up some clues about the character that we're going to try and elicit when we play this little tune. You can see from the words that we've got 2 little goosey ganders, which are male geese, out having a play by the oleander bushes, and they're both quite jolly and quite happy to be out there playing. You can see that the tempo indication at the beginning of the music is lively. So this piece really needs to be a jolly, happy, lively piece about a couple of little birds outside having a play. Here's my demo. And that's my jolly Ganders. Let's have a look at the sheet music in more detail. In the first half of the piece, you can see that we're playing our left hand beginning on F with our second finger, and in that bar we're going straight down a little 4-note run down to middle C. And you can see again I'm concentrating on using my relaxed wrist as I press the keys down and make a nice lyrical sound down towards that middle C. Then the right hand takes over, and with the second finger it's playing 2 G's. That little motif is repeated again, exactly the same, starting on F with your second finger in the left hand, nice relaxed wrist, all detached down the way to that middle C, and finishing with your right hand pressing down with your arm weight, those 2 G notes. It would seem to me that we've got 2 little ideas in the first part of that little tune. Here's the first one, and it's repeated. So how are we going to put some character into that little first part to indicate that we've got some jolly Ganders? Well, I decided that seeing we've got a little motif that's repeated, the first time I would play it moderately loudly, and then the second time I'd play it as a little echo or do it moderately softly. So in my mind I've got my 2 little geese playing. One's quite boisterous and quite happy, and one's quite timid. The boisterous one has a go at something, and then the little timid one has a go at something. That's what my imagination has come up with for this little tune anyway. So the first phrase I'm going to do as an MF, and the repeated phrase I'm going to do as an MP or a little echo. Let's have a look at the second half of the piece. Lots of alternating playing going on. We're starting with an F and finger 2 in our left hand, and then up to 2 A's with your third finger, and then back to the F in that first bar. 1, 2, 3, 4. In the second bar, we're on an E with our third finger, and then 2 G's with the right hand, back to the E. So we've got a little pattern where we're just playing thirds with our right and left hands, and then moving down to the third below. And then the left hand finishes off. And you can see the composer's indicated to do a little bit of a decrescendo when we play those middle Cs, so the second one's not quite as deep. And we have to play that twice. And again, for my character, for my story, I'm going to play the first one quite deeply, moderately loud, and when I do the repeat, again I'll do the echo. And in my mind, that's the big boisterous goose having a go at something, and then the quieter goose having its turn. That second half then, for me, will look something like this. Have a pause and have a play of Jolly Ganders. Focus on your interaction with the keys, that relaxed wrist movement, pressing the keys down with the weight of your arm going through your relaxed wrist and into your curved fingers. Engage your hearing, listen to the sound that's coming out of the piano. Make sure you move smoothly between your keys and you create those lovely flowing hand gestures so that we can't really tell when one hand stops playing and the other starts playing. engage your imagination and hear the music in your head before it comes pouring out of your fingers, and shape your phrases to create your own character for this little piece of music. My interpretation is just a suggestion. It's not the right way or the only way to interpret this little tune, but it's the way that I have chosen to interpret this little tune. And that's the wonderful thing about music. We could give this little tune to lots and lots of pianists and they would all play it slightly differently, because music, playing the piano, is a creative endeavour. And everyone's version of Jolly Ganders will be different. So have a pause and have a play and create your own version of this jolly little tune. Let's review what we did last time when we looked at quaver or eighth notes and we played the little tune A Simple Gift. Have a pause and have a play and see how you go. Here's my interpretation. And I'm done. How did your interpretation compare with mine? Were your chord notes in the left hand sounding at the same time? Could you hear the level of sound changing as you played gradually louder and then gradually softer? Was the music flowing smoothly along? Could you play from start to finish at your selected tempo without too many stops and starts? Did you remember to repeat the tune? And did you use your pause at the end and hang on to that last note and that last chord until you were ready to raise your hands from the keys? If you're not sure how you're progressing with this tune or any of the others that we've previously learnt, don't forget you can always forward them to me for free coaching and feedback. If you've reached performance standard, why not post your interpretation onto our private Facebook gallery? Here's today's tune called Standing in the Need of Prayer. We're going to do things a little bit differently this time. We're going to go through the music line by line first, and then I'll show you my interpretation at the end when we have a look at creating musical character. Let's have a look at the sheet music as a whole. You can see that we've got the tempo indication rhythmically, but not too fast. Although I must admit again, I do like this one to move along a little bit. We're in the key of C major, there's no sharps and flats at the beginning of the music or at the beginning of any of the musical staves. We're reading the treble and the bass clef, right and left hands, and we're counting 4/4 time signature, and the top number, remember, tells us that we're counting 4 beats in a bar. It looks like the right hand has got a melody and the left hand has the accompanying chords. We've got the dynamic markings MF, moderately loud. We've got an F in there as well, which means loud. We've got some gradually louder and gradually softer dynamic markings as well. We've got some long curved lines, which are legato slurs, but they could also indicate a musical phrase. We'll find that out as we go through the music. We've got some sharps in there, indicating that we're going to have to play the note immediately above the note that it's written, or the note a semitone above the note that it's written. We've got a pick-up note at the start, so this song isn't starting on beat 1. If you have a look at the music at the end of our second line, we've got the word fine, and at the end of our last line, we've got the Italian terms DC al fine. We might have a look at them now while the whole piece of music is on the screen. DC al fine is short for da capo al fine, and all that means is to return to the beginning of the music and keep playing until you get to the word fine, and you can see that that's at the end of the second line. So to play this piece of music in its entirety, we'd play from the start all the way to the end of the 4th line, then return to the first line, play the first and the second line, and then we're done. So the form of this piece is sort of ternary form, and the form of a piece tells us about the overall structure of a piece of music. This piece of music has 3 sections in it. It has a start section, a middle section, and then it goes back to the start section. 3 sections, it means vernary form. And sometimes that's abbreviated to section A being given the letter A, section B being given the letter B. So the form of this song could be shorthanded to A, B, A. Let's have a look at the first line of music. You can see we've got the treble and bass clef. As I said, we're counting 4. We'll have a look at the right hand first because that's where all the action is. We're starting on a pickup note, which is E, with our 3rd finger on beat 4. 4. And then in our first bar, we've got a dotted minim, which lasts for 3. 1, 2, 3. Another E on beat 4. In bar 2, E on beat 1. D with your 2nd finger on beat 2. And then middle C for beats 3 and 4. In the next bar, we've got our quavers again. Remember, it's good to count the half beats. Lots of middle C's on beats 1 and 2 and D on beat 3 and another D on beat 4. And in our last bar, E, 1, 2, 3 and another E on beat 4. Remember last time I said it's always a good idea to count, keeping in mind the value of the smallest note in the piece of music. Our smallest note is a quaver, so I'm going to play that line again, putting in all the ands. 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 4 and. You have a go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. You can see we've got the dynamic symbols MF at the start of that line, indicating we're to play the melody initially moderately loud. Then we've got a gradually louder symbol as we move through that line of music to an F, which means loud. And it's always a much more efficient way to learn a song by putting the dynamics in pretty quickly. So I'm going to play that line again with that crescendo and that forte at the end. Here I go. 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. You have a go popping in that crescendo. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and crescendo, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Good, let's do it together. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and. Good. Let's have a look at the left hand. We've got some rests to start with, and in our first full bar on beat 2 we've got a little C chord, C, E, G, with finger 5, 3 and 1. I'll play that. 1 and 2 and 3 and rest. In the next bar we've got a C chord on beat 1, then we're going to a G7, so we've got our thumb on the same note, moving to play our 2nd finger on that F and just moving our little pinky down to the B on beat 2 and then back to the C for 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Making sure those chord notes are sounding together and putting a lovely relaxed wrist motion in there to soften the sound. In the next bar we've got a C chord for beats 1 and 2 and 3, G7, 3 and 4 and then back to 1 and 2, 3, rest. I'll play that again. 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 You have a turn. Here's the pickup note. 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 4. Good. Let's do that together. Starting with the pickup note. 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 4. Excellent. Have a pause and have a play of your left and your right hand together. Listen out and make sure your chord notes are sounding together, and pop in your gradually louder. Let's have a look at playing that first line together. I'll do it nice and slowly. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. It's your turn. I'll count you in. We'll take it nice and slowly. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do one together. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Excellent. Have a pause and have a play of putting your two hands together in that first line. Let's have a look at line 2. You'll be pleased to know it's very, very similar to line 1. Almost identical, in fact. We'll just start with the right hand. We're on E with our third finger. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 down to middle C, 3 and 4. Here come the quavers. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and you'll notice the only difference in the second last bar is we're playing the E. Instead of going up, we're going down. It's always handy to work out the patterns and similarities between various parts of your piece of music. It can make the learning much more straightforward. Let's do one together. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and good. Let's have a look at the left hand. Very similar to the line above. I'll do it through very quickly. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 and nothing on beat 4. The only difference we've got is in that last bar we've got a C on beat 1, going up to an F chord, or moving to play our second finger on the F and moving our thumb up to the A on beat 2 and then back to C. You have a go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 4. Let's do it together. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and pause and have a play of your left and your right hands, line 2, separately. Let's put line 2 together. I'll do it very slowly. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, and there's no 4. Let's have a look at the dynamic markings. Remember, we're at F, so we're playing quite deeply and quite loud at the start, and then we've got a D crescendo, so I'll pop that in. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3, and there's no 4. Alright, you have a turn. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3, and there's no 4. Let's do one together with those dynamics. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, and there's no 4. Have a pause and have a play of line 2 hands together, and then have a go at line 1 and line 2. Let's have a look at line 3. You can see that the right hand is quite busy. We've got lots and lots of those quaver notes happening, and our sharp symbol is back again. Let's see what's going on with the notes. Again, we're starting on beat 4, and because it's quavers, we've got 4 and. So that first note is E with your third finger, and the second note is D sharp. So not the D, but the note immediately above it, or the note semitone above it, which is D sharp. 4 and. In the next bar we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now you might say to me, well, why are you playing all those D sharps when there's just the D sharp in front of the first note? Remember, a sharp that's not included in the key signature is called an accidental. So C sharp major, the key that this song is in, has no black notes, but the composer has decided to make this note part of the song. So that D sharp is an accidental, and accidentals last for the whole bar in which they're written. So there's no need to keep writing sharps in and clutter up the music. It's implied that because it's a D sharp in the first note, all the other Ds that follow us are going to be sharps as well. When we go over the bar line, that D sharp disappears, it doesn't apply anymore, so the D in the next bar is actually just normal D. I'll do those first couple of bars again. 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. In the next bar we've got our middle C quavers back. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So our two quavers back again, E and D sharp. I'll play that line again. 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and you can see we've got the same dynamic markings as we had before, so we've got to put a gradually louder in there. You have a go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and. Let's do one together and put the gradually louder in. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 let's have a look at the left hand. Same sort of chords as we've come across before. Nothing on the pickup note, and then in the left hand on the first bar we've got a C chord, 1 and 2, and another one on beat 3, 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3. Also got that on move again. The next bar, C chord for 1, 2, 3, 4, and then C chord, 2, 3, rest. Very similar to the first bar. Let's do it together. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Excellent. Have a pause and have a play of your left and right hand separately on that line 3. Let's put that together very slowly. 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 and... So you can see I'll pop the dynamics in there as well. You have a go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 and... There's a lot going on in that line. You've got rests, you've got all sorts of things happening. We've also got that legato slur. So we're playing these E and D sharp notes in a very smooth and connected manner. And it does sort of mark part of a little phrase, although none of the other phrases are marked. So I tend to think that this slur is more of a legato slur than intentionally a phrase symbol, seeing that we haven't got any of our other phrases really marked in the music. Let's do that together. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and crescendo 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 and... Excellent. Have a pause and have a play at putting your left and right hand together on that third line, and then have a go at playing line 1, line 2 and line 3. Let's have a look at the last line now. Starting with the right hand, we've got that E D sharp thing happening again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can see that we've got a decrescendo, so we'll pop that in as we move through our music. You have a go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Let's do that together with the decrescendo. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Let's do the left hand. Very similar to the line before. We might do that together straight away. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Excellent. Have a pause and have a play of your left and right hand separately. Let's put that last line together. Nice and slowly. Me first. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 or 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. And then there's no 4 because 4's at the start. You have a go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3. Good. Let's do that together. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3. Excellent. Have a go at putting line 4 together, 2 hands, and then you're ready to play the whole tune. The first section, the second section, and a repeat back to the first section. Have a pause and have a play, and then I'll return with my interpretation. I'm going to give you 2 interpretations of this particular song. First one fairly straight-laced, and the second one my interpretation that sort of puts in my feeling and the way that I'd like to present this particular tune to the people that are listening to me play. Here's the straight one first. See, I held on to that last chord with a pause, even though there's no pause written. And I think that's my point about this lesson. Just because something's not written in the sheet music doesn't mean that you can't do your own thing. I always think that the sheet music is just a place to start. Listening to this tune, I've got a particular idea in my head. It's an old spiritual gospel tune, so I'd like to make it sound a little bit more gospel-y in my mind. This interpretation isn't a right interpretation or a wrong interpretation, it's just my interpretation. I've taken the sheet music, I've played through it, I've deciphered the notes, listened to the dynamics, I've come up with an idea in my head, and now I'd like to play my own interpretation of it. And you can do the same. Don't think that because what's written on the sheet music is there, it's set in stone. It's certainly not. Sheet music is really just a place to start. Work out the notes, work out the fingering, work out the dynamics, form your own ideas, and then put your own flavour and your own interpretation into the music. Then that's what will be communicated to your audience. That will generate emotions in them, that will generate a connection between you and your audience. Hopefully you'll be in a place where you're at a wonderful high together. Alright, here's my own interpretation of this one. So don't be afraid to spice things up and create your own interpretation of this wonderful old gospel tune. Now would be a great time to pause and play and review some of the music from previous lessons to keep them nice and fresh in case somebody asks you to play for them. That's it for this lesson. Make sure you feel completely comfortable with all the skills that we've looked at today before moving on. Next lesson we'll be having a look at a new type of note, the dotted crotchet.